Hi, my name is Jules Ayanes Pligas, and my co-reporters are Glenn A. Gabata and Angeline Perez. So, our topic for today is ethics and economy. Our learning outcomes here in ethics and economy is the number one. Explain the economics is more than just a profit-making activity. Number two. Identify the ethical implications of economic policies and practices. Number 3. Discuss how labor and economy are not ethically neutral contexts. Number 4. Examine the role of the state in promoting a healthy ethical climate alongside economic growth. And lastly, number 5. Develop awareness and alienation as an ethical fact. So, the learning outcomes of number 1 is the goal and the development and also the marketing of the economy. Number 2 is the ethical hint. Number 3 is not ethically neutral. Number 4 is promoting health in economy to have growth in our economy. Number 5, develop awareness and also to recognize understandings. Ethics and economy. Ethic refers to the moral principle and values that guide human behavior and decision making. So, ethics have a moral that has a good or bad and right and wrong. Economy, on the other hand, refers to a system of production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services within a society. So the economy is a system which goods and services are produced and also sold and bought in the region. In the intersection of the ethics and economy, raise important question about how economic activities should be conducted in a moral, responsible, and sustainable manner. So ethics and economy is neutral and balanced. Endo-contractualization. So endo-contractualization is a practice of hiring workers for a short time before terminating them. Often, in this system, one is hired for less than 6 months. So, mayroon ang endo sang 555. So, ang endo contractualization, nagahatag siya sang 5 months contract and this is renewable. So, every 5 months naga-renew ang isa ka empleyado and until lang na siya mag-abot sa 15 months. So, naga-provide siya sang 5 days notice before terminating contract. So here is the endo is derived from an abridged version of a phrase end of contract. So ang endo daw is end of contract. So endo is also sometimes referred as 555. So amo itong ginahambal ko agina nga 5 months contract. Every 5 months naga-renew ang isa ka empleyado, alluding to the number of months until a non-regular employee termination or end of contract. So we have here two opposing options, the anti-endo and the pro-endo. So here we have, there are moderates who see the possibility of maintaining some form of legal arrangement that could protect the workers' basic labor rights while preserving businesses' interests to keep them afloat. So here we have the anti-endo. So ang anti-endo is nagahambal sila nga unfair dapat wala sang contract termination kaya hindi nila gusto nga mag-end ang ilang contract. Then the pro-endo is naga-support sa group or naga-support sa campaign para sa awareness kag aton nga understanding. We have here the Labor Day. Protest highlight calls for wage hike, end-to-end the US imperialism. So we have here the Labor Code of the Philippines mandate that an individual may be considered a regular employee once he or she is able to complete the mandatory probationary period of 6 months. So, every employee dapat may mandatory siya nga 6 months para maging regular employee. So, amo na nga may mga anti-hendo, it's because naga-end sila sang every 5 months lang, naga-renew lang sila sang contract. So, hindi sila matawag na regular employee. Tapos, kung mag-end ang ilang contract sa 15 months, is wala na sila, sa pagkabalo ko, is wala na sila sang trabaho. Like, amos na. So, ang aton employment wage is 290 to 537 per day minimum wage naton as a employee. So we have here a Labor Code of the Philippines. So ang Labor Code of the Philippines daw is naga-provide sang guidelines for employment wages, working conditions, and employee rights. Employment wages. It establishes minimum wage rates and regulates the payments of wage. So, amo gaytong ginahambal ko agina nga ang isa ka employee, ang minimum wage niya is around 290 to 537 per day. So, number 2 is working conditions. It mandates employers to provide safe and healthy working conditions for their employees. So, ang isa daw ka employee dapat safe daw ang ila mag-provide daw sa company ang safety nila kag ang ilang health conditions. So pag ang isa ka employee is overtime, which can cause magbaba ang ilang health conditions kay mag-overtime, is ang shift mo is aga hasta hapon. If mag-overtime ka sang hapon hasta magabi, so hindi ka na nakapaway, so magbaba ang health condition mo. Dapat kung ano ang shift mo, amo na to para sa ilang company. We have the employee rights. So the labor code protects the rights of employees, such as the right to organize and engage in collective bargaining.
Department of Labor and Employment Order Number 174 of the Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, is a significant regulation in the Philippines that addresses the issue of contractualization and aims to protect workers' rights. Order number 174 provides guidelines and regulations to regulate contractualization and promote ethical and employment practices. So first is the prohibition of labor-only contracting. So sa ilalim ng batas ng Department of Labor and Employment is ipinagbawal ang labor-only dahil hindi naman maiwasan ang mapagsamantalahan yung mga nagle-labor lang. Since kalimitan ay hindi naman sila hired as an employee na kumuha sa kanila. Kumbaga pansamantala at hindi pang matagalan na trabaho, at sa ganung paraan ay nadidisregard yung karapatan nila na magtrabaho ng full time or yung permanente na trabaho. Isa pa ay hindi nakaka-benefit yung mga laborers, yung nag-labor, since ang mas nakaka-benefit dun sa is yung mga employers lang. And yung mga labor is hindi sila safe or hindi rin sila protektado since wala sa kasunduan, wala sa contract. So next is direct hiring. So sa direct hiring is ito yung paghanap ng mga company or mga agency na mag-refill doon sa position para sa kukuhanin nila or kailanganin nila. Kumbaga, ang kumpanya ang mag-offer ng position sa isang tao directly. For example, is yung sa mga OFW natin, since minsan is ina-offeran sila ng mga agency para magtrabaho dito at kung ano ang opportunity na maaari nilang makuha or ma-avail sa ibang bansa na kailangan doon. Like sa Saudi, ay kailangan nila is yung cleaner, then nail tech, ganon. Then, kalimitan is dahil kalimitan, di ba, sa ngayon dito sa Pilipinas ay mahirap hanap ng stable na trabaho. So, need nila na mga ibang bansa para sa kanilang pamilya. Tsaka kapag direct hiring ay hindi safe. Since kapag andun ka rin sa ibang bansa, merong tendency na magrabyado or maabuso doon since hindi naman minsan is hindi na ng mga employer or agency nila kaya hindi na pa-process agad-agad. So next is the security of tenure. So this is the right to ensure that no employee can be dismissed from work except for a just or authorized cause and only after due process, whether you're a Filipino or a foreign. This is monitoring and enforcement. Ito ay ang pag-monitor kung nasusunod ba ang batas, kasama na dito ang pag-inspeksyon, pag-review ng mga kondisyon, mga complaints, at pag-imbestiga kung meron bang nilabag yung mga employees sa sinasabing rules and regulations sa loob ng kumpanya. Next is the ethical aspect of economy. Karl Marx was a German philosopher, economist, and political theorist. Marx's ideas had a profound impact on social, economic, and political thought. His theories, class struggle, historical materialism, and alienation of labor continue to be influential in various fields. Karl Marx distinguished himself as a first thinker to devote his attention to the exploited condition of laborers. As early as 19th century, an intellectual by the name of Karl Marx had already pointed out the dehumanizing effect of capitalism. The aggressive rise of capital inflow ushered in the age of industrialization, which made the manufacturer of goods significantly efficient. Karl Marx came up with his own version of theory of alienation that has become the centerpiece of his philosophical anthropology. So, as Marx explained in Alienated Labor as an essay in the Book of Economic and Philosophical Manuscript of 1844, the human person is a species being because he or she possesses the ability to reduce or objectify himself or herself through the product of labor. So, alienated labor, the process whereby the worker is made to feel foreign of his or her products, which means is to force and involuntary labor in which the worker finds no purpose, no pleasure or commitment, no needs fulfillment, no independence or power, no mental growth or physical development. For example, in business world, In today's era, the product will be credited to the business owner, not to the laborer. Just like mode of production in which business owners, the capitalists, owned all the means of production, the factory, the tools and machinery, the raw materials, the final products, and the profit earned from their sale. Workers or labor are hard for wages and have no ownership stake and no share of profits. Next slide is labor is human activity which in the modern times has become closely dependent on economy. So, since labor activity, ang labor activity is mas naka-benefit siya sa economy dahil ang mga tao ay ang nagpro-provide ng labor para sa mga merong mga business kapalit ng payment or yung i-bayad sa kanila ng mga employers, lalo na kapag dahil ang iba is hindi naman nababayaran yung pag-overtime nila, pero as long as matapos nila yung yung kanilang mga trabaho is okay na rin yan dahil babayaran din naman sila in the end of the day. Labor as a form of commodity is greatly underscored by the contemporary global economy. So, in contemporary global economies, labor is often treated as a commodity, meaning it is bought and sold in the marketplace like any other product. This perspective can lead to workers being seen as interchangeable parts of production processes, valued primarily for their ability to generate profit rather than as individuals with unique skills, needs, and aspirations. For example, let's consider the gig economy, where platforms connect individuals with tasks or short-term jobs. In this model, workers are often seen as commodities that can be accessed and utilized on demand without the traditional protections and benefits associated with formal employment. Their labor is bought and sold through the platform, with little consideration given to their long-term well-being or stability. So this approach to labor can lead to exploitation, as workers may be underpaid, lack of security, and face precarious working conditions. It underscores the tendency of contemporary economies to prioritize efficiency and profit maximization over the rights and dignity of the workers. Alienation is the term used by Marx to refer to the great disconnect between what a person does for a living and kind of person one should be. So, Karl Marx used the concept of alienation to describe the profound disconnect that arises in capitalist societies between workers and the product of their labor, as well as between workers and their own humanity. This alienation occurs because workers are typically estranged from the means of production, the products they create, and even from their own creative potential. As an example of alienation can be seen in assembly line manufacturing. Imagine a worker tasked with repetitive assembling a single component of a product, such as the small parts of a car. The worker's role is highly specialized and repetitive, offering little opportunity for creativity or personal fulfillment. They may never see the finished product or understand how their contribution fits into the larger process. This lack of connection to the final product can lead to a sense of disconnection from the fruits of their labor and a feeling of being reduced to a mere cog in the machinery of production. Moreover, in capitalist system, workers often lack control over their working conditions, hours, and wages. Further exacerbating feelings of alienation, Marx argued that this alienation is not inherent aspect of human existence, but is instead a result of the specific social and economic structures of capitalism. Next is the capitalism and commodification. Capitalism is a economic system characterized by private ownership of the means of production and the pursuit of profit. In a capitalist system, individuals and business engage in economic activities with the goal of maximizing their own financial gains. So, example of the capitalism is a lemonade stand operated by a child entrepreneur. The child buys lemons, sugars, and cups. So this is the means of production with their own money, or perhaps with a loan from a parent or their parents. They then mix these ingredients, apply their labor by making the lemonade, and sell it to the customers at a higher price than the cost of the ingredients. In this scenario, the child assumes that the role of both the capitalist or investing capital and organizing production and the worker or the providing labor, they aim to make a profit by selling the lemonade at a price higher than the cost of production. This example illustrates the basic principles of capitalism, including private ownership of the means of production, the pursuit of profit, and the role of marketing exchange. Commodification. Commodification is one of the consequences of a capitalism. The economy, and as a cultural phenomenon, points to the systematic tendency to reduce every aspect of human experience into commodity. So, example of commodification is a bushel of wheat. In this scenario, the wheat is produced by farmers and traded on commodity exchanges. Its value is determined by factors such as supply and demand, quality, and market conditions. The wheat can be bought and sold as a standardized product similar to other bushel of wheat, making it classic. And this is the example of commodity in the global economy.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmates. So, my report is under capitalism. Under capitalism, almost everything can be turned into a commodity and bought or sold in market. This includes not only physical but also services, labor, and even natural resources. So, ang report ko ay capitalism kay isang sistema sa ekonomiya na kung saan ang nagmamay-ari is ang private individuals or organization, hindi ng iya ka gobyerno. For example, ikaw ay may business ka na sarili mo, walang kinalaman diri ang gobyerno, so capitalism ang tawag diri. Tapos under capitalism kay halos lahat daw pwede maging comedy and pwedeng mapabenta or maging business. So next is commodity. Commodity in economics, a commodity is an economic good, usually a resource that specifically has full or substantial fungibility, that is the market treats instances of the good as equivalent or nearly so with no regard to who produced them. So pagambal naton nga commodity, it means ito yung mga bagay or raw material na ginagamit para makabuo or makaproduce ng finished product. So for example, kay sa damit natin, anong ginagamit natin before siya mabuo, di ba? Raw materials or materials like balat sang baka or buaya, amo na di ba ginagamit nila kung maghimo sang ng sapatos, bag or ano man dira nga pwede mo nga gamit. So next is the commodification of goods and services raises ethical question and concerns. Here are the some key points to consider. So first is impact on society. The pursuit of profit in a capitalist system can sometimes prioritize individual gain over the well-being of society as a whole. This can lead to income inequality, explosion, or workers and social division. So, ayon nga sa first muna i-consider sa capitalism or business kay ang impact nito sa society. May mga tao abing nga gapokus kayo sa dako sang kita or profit nila without thinking kung ano ang maging effect nito sa iba or sa society. So for example, so yung mga negosyanteng nagapayaman sila ng gapayaman while yung mahirap kay nagiging mahirap kay siyempre magtaas man ang presyo ng bilihin. Tas yung mga mahirap kay mahirapan na yan mag-budget ng pera nila, so mas magiging mahirap sa ila while yung mayaman or may business kay nagayaman ng nagayaman. So sa business dapat gina-consider mo man ang mga tao sa society, hindi nga sa sarili mo lang nga gusto mo magyaman. Dapat reasonable yung mga price na ibigay mo, dapat may care ka sa iba. So next is environmental impact. Capitalism focus on profit can also lead to the overexplosion of natural resources and environmental degradation. The drive of continuous economic growth can have negative consequences for the planet and the future generations. So, pinaka-affected gidri is ang environment natin kay maabuso sila. Maabuso ang mga natural resources kay dahil sa kagustuhan mo na magkaroon ng malaking profit sa business mo, kay wala ka nakapalom, nakaguba ka ng gali sa environment mo. For example dire is ng pag-utod sang puno nga himuon nila nga business mo, wala na nila ginatamdan sang bagot ang na utdan sa mga puno ang lupa dira may mo na siya nga commercial lot. At another example dire is ang pagmimina, di ba? Gabuho sila nga gabuho kag kapangita sang gold sa dalom sang lupa, ang lupa sina maghumok man na siya, so pwede na siya magka landslide. So next is human well-being. When everything is treated as marketable commodity, there is a risk of reducing human relationships and experiences to transactional exchanges. This can implication for social cohesion, community values, and personal fulfillment. So, limbawa dire is yung bayanihan gyud natin kay di ba kusang loob man yang napagtulong. Tapos pag-isipan mo gid or gawin mong mindset yung kapitalisma na lahat ay pwedeng maging commodity, service or product man. So mawala sa atin yung bayanihan kay di na magkusa ang mga tao kay isipin nila na may bayad na sa bawat gawa nila. So halimbawa ng kapitbahay nyo nang di na siya mag-atag sang sudan sa inyo kay ng ibaligyan niya lang sa inyo kay para may kwarta siya. Tapos nang di kaya nang kapag broken ka tas kailangan mo pa bayaran friend mo para mamati siya sa imong mga problema. So next naman is labor and economy are not ethically neutral and neutral context because they involve various ethical consideration implication. So first is power imbalance. Example dire is nang kaysa work or obra may mga rank man, di ba? May boss tas employee tas yan daw pag kay pwede mag cause ng pag-abuse. Kaya ang iba ginaabuso nila yung power nila or posisyon na may ara sa ila, like nang sige lang sila ka maliit or nang ginahikaya nila ang mga ara sa mababa nga posisyon, tapos nang sagad lang nila ginasugo mga iban nga employee, tapos bawal ka magsagot-sagot sa ila kay ara ka lang sa baba nga posisyon. Next is fair wages and income inequality. So hari naman is about sa pagpapasahod is abi kay diban gina-question mo man nga amo lang ni sahod nila nga grabe man nila pangabudlay sa ilang mga obra, tas minsan kay pabor man gid sa work na pili lang atagan nila sang sahod, tas may cause yun ng conflict ba. Tapos kaya ang iba kay natamad na mag-obra kay gamay lang ang sahod nila amo na di mag-asenso ang aton nga economy. Next is working social conditions and safety. Kay dapat diba safety first man gid dapat ang unahon. So amo ni gid ang i-consider sang every business about sa employee nila. Dapat i-make sure gid nga safe ang working area. Amo na makita sa mga building may ara sang fire extinguisher, fire exit, fire alarm kag iban pa nga pang safety sa mga employee. So next is social and environment impact. Dapat diba kay ang business i-consider na gid ang kapakanan sang paligid niya or community or sa environment. Dapat ang business kay gawin gid nila ang best nga ang business nila nga di makaharm sa tao or sa environment. Dapat ga-focus sila sa pagtulong or pag-unlad ng ating community. Last is discrimination and diversity. Di ba kay sa workman di may wasan nga may discrimination, need na matabo about sa gender nila, kulay, lahi nila and everything man dira. Dapat free from discrimination. Dapat nga pantay-pantay lang ang pagtrato sa mga employee kahit man na sila. Next is conclusion. Ethics and economy are closely intertwined, and it's essential to consider ethical principles in economic decision making by making understanding labor laws, addressing contractualization, and reflecting on the ethical aspect of capitalism. we can strive for a more just and sustainable economy. This involves incorporating ethical consideration into our economic practices, promoting fairness and justice, ensuring environmental sustainability, and embracing social responsibility. Business and individuals have a social responsibility to contribute positively to society through initiatives such as corporate social responsibility and ethical investments practices. It is important to be aware of labor laws and regulations to protect workers' rights and promote fair treatment. Reflecting on the ethical aspects of capitalism allows us to critically examine its impact on labor, consumer culture, and the environment, leading to discussion on alternative economic models and practices. By integrating ethics into the economy, we can work towards a more equitable, sustainable, and social responsible society. That's all, ma'am. Thank you.